let's move on to something else.
Something arguably worse.
What? Anyways, Roadhouse from 1989. Pretty simple movie. It's about a bouncer who's hired to help clean up a pretty disgraceful looking bar in a small town. And along the way, he comes to find out that there's, I guess, this like crime lord type character who has this stranglehold on the town. And that's pretty much it. And, gets to a point where it comes down to a battle between this bouncer, played by Patrick Swayze, and this complete asshole, I guess. It's pretty classic late 80s movie. I mean, I saw it quite a lot when I was younger. It's one of the few movies that I think my brother and I both enjoy. My brother's not necessarily big on horror movies, so he's not a huge movie guy in general, but the stuff he does watch is more this kind of stuff, I guess, or comedies. So it's got that kind of rare link that I have, something that we both enjoy. Anyways, it's one of those movies where I think Patrick Swayze's pretty badass. He seems quite invincible at times in the movie, and pain don't hurt. Yeah, I mean, it's also got Marshall Teague in it, who we discussed earlier when we were talking about A Dangerous Place. He's a bit younger in this movie, probably a little bit more menacing, and I think at some point he gets referred to as, Patrick Swayze talks about, if you're going to have a pet, keep it on a leash, and this guy kind of rolls out, he does kind of seem like a bit of a wild animal, so, yeah, no, I mean, I think this is a movie where it actually has a bit of a blend of seriousness and ridiculousness, or silliness, if you want to call it, because it does have quite a ridiculous ending when you think about it. All this murder happens, and it kind of...
I didn't see anything.
Yeah, I didn't see anything. And then they go on to playing some kind of happy-go-lucky rock music. Anyways, what were your thoughts on this one?
No, I've never seen this movie before. It's one of those movies I've heard, pretty positive things about. I have some, friends who enjoy some 80s action movies say, hey, you should watch Roadhouse, and I finally did. So, I mean, I thought it was pretty enjoyable. I'm honestly, I haven't seen many Patrick Swayze movies. The only one that comes to mind is probably Ghost.
Well, you did see him in Donnie Darko last week.
Oh, that is true. I forgot that was even him. So, there you go. So, I mean, I think the story, I think, is pretty interesting. I enjoyed many of the fight sequences. I thought some of the, pretty good stuff. I thought a lot of the characters, too, were, pretty decent. I thought there was quite a bit to like about this one, to be honest. Especially, I think it was a character played by Sam Elliott.
Mm-hmm.
And Sam Elliott isn't the actor I particularly know that well, but I did really enjoy his character and his dynamics working with Swayze. If there's one thing I had an issue with, it was the doctor in the movie, sort of the main romantic interest. And she played by a woman named Callie Lynch. And I thought the character started out okay, but toward the end, she just sort of annoyed the hell out of me. She said some things that didn't make much sense to me. She was pissed that, after he defended himself, and he happened to kill someone in self-defense, and she was angry about it, which, I mean, I don't know, call me crazy, but I didn't get it. I think he was in total right to defend himself, so I don't know. She's attractive, but she just annoyed me at times. Otherwise, I think many of the characters are enjoyable. I think the main antagonist was pretty good. There's a few over-the-top moments, like the whole monster truck thing. Like, I can't see a monster truck driving through an auto shop, like that. I just can't see it. But, hey, it's cool. It's a small town. Maybe that's what happens in small towns. So, I don't know. I thought it was a decent amount of fun. And generally speaking, an enjoyable movie.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's a part of the silly or ridiculous nature of the film. There are a few scenes where things are just it's got like this slight comedy feel to it, even though it's still a fairly serious type action drama.
Also, I just realized that Patrick Swayze is in Point Break, which I have also seen. So
Yeah.
That's all I have.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's one of those actors that, I mean, he died, well, I wouldn't say young, but much earlier than most people should, so it would have been nice to see him stick around and be in more movies, because I quite enjoy him in a lot of different things. So. He seems like a fairly nice guy, from what I've heard. I guess one thing that kind of... Something I just got to bring up is that I guess back in the 80s, you know the bar called the Double Deuce. Back then, the word deuce, I mean, the only time someone ever says that to me is when they're talking about taking a shit. So, I mean, was that not a thing back then, I guess? Just naming the bar like Double Poop.
I mean, to be fair, it was a pretty shitty bar, so I mean...
Well, at least until Dalton came in and cleaned it up pretty good.
Yeah, it cleaned up really nice. That was a really nice looking facility toward the end of things.
Yeah, but before, yeah, I guess the owner described it pretty well. It's a place where they're mopping up the blood at the end of each night.
I enjoyed the first time it showed the bar. I'm like, dude, is it Barn playing behind a cage? Like, people just randomly throw up beer bottles at the bar. I'm like, who the hell does that?
Poor blind dude. I guess he needed it more than anyone else because he won't see a bottle coming his way.
That's a nice tasteful humor.
Yeah.
I do think that one fight scene with I forget what the guy's name is, but I guess what I call the main fight scene of the movie, I thought that was a pretty decent fight scene. You know, just intense. So I enjoyed it.
It's just, yeah, there's a lot of enjoyable moments throughout the movie. I wouldn't say too many things that all that memorable, but yeah, I just think it's one of those movies that's kind of just enjoyable from start to finish. It doesn't do anything spectacularly well, but it's a pretty good movie.
Well, I'll just simply say that Roadhouse is a pretty fun movie. I'd never seen it before, so, you know, I had a good time with it. And, you know, I definitely recommend if you're a fan of 80s, you know, movies, you know, it's not necessarily amazing, but you can easily have a good time with it.
I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. I don't think I really need to explain too much more as to why, because I pretty much spent the whole segment explaining that. So, just, good movie from start to finish. You know, some decent performances in the movie. And it's got a bit of a nostalgic feel for me, especially being a movie that I watched quite a bit when I was younger.
No, I really liked Patrick Swayze's speech, you know, the 3 rules. I had some fun with that. You know,
yeah.
Be nice and, you know, if you're, you know, taking them outside, be nice.
What if someone calls my mama a whore? Is she?
Yeah, he was a pretty suave character. I enjoyed him. So I really like this one. I'm not as critical with non-horror movies, so this is one I'm giving a 9 out of 10. I thought it was a thoroughly enjoyable movie. I can't think of any big problems aside from the one character who just sort of annoyed me at times. Like I said, she's an attractive actress, but her character just bothered me. So, I don't know, 9 out of 10 seems fair, and it's a movie that I would certainly recommend.
And it's got some titties in it.
It has a lot more nudity. I'll be honest, I didn't expect any nudity from this movie, so, like, there's quite it's not like over the top, but there were quite a few scenes of some, that might cause some lustful thoughts.
You know me, I gotta mention the titties if they're there.
Indeed. And even if they're not there. So it's, it's a good movie, you know. If you like nudity, you should watch it for that.